My name is Megan Burke, and I am the Director of Student Transition here at Arkansas Tech. So, among other things, orientation is one of my responsibilities. And so I'm really excited to be not only working on this Tech Talk program with you guys, make sure that you are aware of all of the campus resources that we have to offer, but I'm also working on the orientation for y'all when you get to be on campus in August. And so that's my favorite part. It's the most fun where you guys actually get to be here and you get to interact with each other. And so this should be exciting. And then we have another presenter here with us. Chelsea, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Chelsea Larimore and I'm the Interim Assistant Dean for Campus Life. So civic engagement is one of the areas that I oversee. So you'll hear us talk a lot about why students should get involved with things, especially civic engagement being one of those. So hello, welcome to today's Tech Talk.
All right, so today's topic is civic engagement, and that covers a variety of different things, community service, as well as connection to your community and to your campus. And so Chelsea and I were just kind of wondering what about this topic interests you guys, and what areas of community service are you guys most interested in and engaged in? So if you guys want to put that in the chat box, or if you just want to unmute yourself and raise your hand and talk and share with us what about community service and civic engagement interests you guys? Not everybody at once, though.
I like the fact that I get to help different people in the community and see the reactions to stuff they like when we volunteer, and like say adult daycare and we like get to play games with the elderly. I like the type of
stuff. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Sierra.
I'm a people person, so I like to help different people with almost anything, anything that they need. I can probably help them out with directing them in the right place or helping them do stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Yes,
I'm involved with my church, and like with school, they give you a lot of opportunities. And so I think it's really neat that like you guys have your own kind of, not really like program, but just ways to get involved. And so that's really helpful instead of having to go out on your own and like figure out what you want to do as far as volunteering goes.
Yes. Awesome. All right. One more person. Who else wants to tell us? Anybody? Don't let me down, guys. One more person. We can do this.
I agree with Madison. I'm involved at church, and I'm just excited to learn new ways to get more involved, especially going into college from high school.
All right. Awesome. I love all of those reasons. And all of those reasons are why we have a program like this. That community service can be something that is so rewarding, and helps you find your passion. It helps you connect to people, but sometimes it can be really hard to find ways to get connected and find ways to get involved with that. I know I discovered that when I was in school, that I wanted to go out and help, but I didn't know how to do it. And so having an office like the Office of Civic Engagement really helps out in just kind of finding a place and then being able to figure out where you want to go from there. So Chelsea, why don't you kind of start out with some of the benefits of getting involved in this area, and then we can jump into some of the opportunities that we have, like our action days and Green and Gold Give Back and all of that good stuff.
Sounds great. So with civic engagement, it encompasses so many different things. The community service piece is one of the big pieces of it, which some of you that have already been doing community service, you kind of already see the benefit in it a lot. Like what some of you said, when I started college, I came from a family that we had been super involved in something called Ozark Mission Project, if anybody's ever heard of OMP. And it travels across the state of Arkansas and gives back to different communities within the state. And so when I came to tech, I knew that that was something that was really important to me, and that was a focus. So a lot like you, I was looking for a way to give back to the community. But coming from outside of Russellville to that community, it's hard to find ways to get involved, to just jump in. Where do you go? One of the big areas that we focus on at Tech is helping students connect to different businesses in Russellville. And we do that through the Chamber of Commerce. So you don't have to unmute yourselves, but like, how many people know what a Chamber of Commerce is? Couple of people? Okay. So every community has a Chamber of Commerce. So it might be like an area Chamber of Commerce, like Russellville's covers a big area. So it's the Russellville Chamber of Commerce, but it covers a wider area than just Russellville, like Dover and the surrounding areas. So it's really cool. It's a way that we stay connected to the community. A lot of those people sit on different boards with Tech. They help get the mayor involved in things. And so with that, that's their job, but they are helping us connect to elected officials. So everybody knows it's an election year, right? Everybody's aware. So that's something that is super important to us, is making sure that our students are actively engaged in voter registration of some kind. They understand how to vote, how to use their voice, things like that. So if you are 18 or older, so we'll figure out a way to get you registered to vote. We are a voter-friendly campus, so that's another thing that's, like I said, super important to us at Tech, is helping you become the best citizens that you can be. And one of those ways, a very small way, is for you to vote. It's a big deal that we're able to vote in elections. And so with it being an election year, you will see tons of stuff during Tech Connect that Megan's planning. And throughout your time on campus, you'll see so much to do with everything voter registration wise. So Megan, you want to jump into our programs now?
Yeah, sure. So we have a variety of different programs on campus that students can get involved in, and it's a really easy way to jump into community service, as community service is one of the most kind of the easiest ways to start becoming involved in civic engagement activities. Community service can range anything from picking up trash around campus to actually going to like an adoption center for a pet adoption center in Russellville, and like hanging out with the pets and making blankets for them and stuff like that. So there's a variety of different ways for community service. My favorite activity that we do as far as community service is called Green and Gold Gives Back. And it's basically a campus-wide day of service where anyone can sign up, and you can either sign up as an individual or you can sign up as a student organization. A lot of times, a lot of the Greek organizations or a lot of the academic organizations will sign up as an organization. And then we have over 700 or 800 people on that one day go out to a variety of different sites all over Russellville, and then do community service for a couple of hours in the morning, all at the same time. So a variety of different things that you can do, from, like I said, cleaning up trash on campus to cleaning up trash all over areas of Russellville. I know there's a lot of older residents of Russellville that need help with their houses. And since we do this in November, a lot of times we are raking leaves, or we're painting houses, or we're changing light bulbs for some of our older residents, or we're going into nursing homes and playing games and talking to them, or going into schools and working with them and kind of sometimes painting schools, or sometimes going into daycare centers or boys and girls clubs and helping them clean and helping them hang out and talk to all of the kids. So a variety of different options. And my favorite part is that it's not just me. It's not just me wanting to do that. It's me and maybe a couple of people from my residence hall, or maybe some people from my classes, or the organization that I'm involved in. The First Generation Student Organization, I'm the advisor for that. And I know last year, there was 10 of them in the organization. It was a small organization. And so they were able to get together and actually just go out and as a group be able to connect with each other through that community service and get to know each other, and just kind of a very relaxed environment in a new organization, but then actually perform community service as well. And you get a t-shirt for it, and then you come back, and a lot of times there's food and activities afterwards. So it's a really cool way to just kind of put yourself out there and sign up for it, either by yourself or with an organization, but then you get to choose the service project that you go to. I know that there's like an equestrian like a horse facility or something around here, Chelsea.
Equestrian zone. Yeah.
Equestrian zone that you
they
can
do
go
physical therapy for on horses. It's pretty cool. I volunteered there in college. It's a neat place.
It's definitely something that's unique to this area. There's not a lot of that around. And so a lot of unique opportunities that we can provide you here. So that's one of the options, Green and Gold Give Back. And you'll hear all about it when you'll see signs on campus, and you'll get emails that you can sign up as an individual, and then you'll be put with a group, or you can sign up as a group, and then you guys will all be placed in the same area to go ahead and do community service on that day. So that one's really exciting, and it's one of my favorites.
Also, what better way to get to know somebody new than to do a service project with them? I feel like some of the best friendships that I had in college were from people who I did not know until we were out on a service project together. One of the biggest ones last year at Green and Gold Give Back, like Megan was talking about, was a Habitat for Humanity house. So we partnered with Habitat, and some of our students went and worked on a house here in Russellville. So tons of cool projects. One of the very first events of the year, which can't happen in its traditional format this year because of other things happening in the world, but normally you will see, and hopefully you will attend in the future when things calm down, is this really awesome thing called March to Maine. It's such a neat event. All the students gather on campus, and we all walk together down to Main Street. So I'm sure, being from all across the United States, all across the state of Arkansas especially, our students see that in small communities, the main streets of what they used to be have just really kind of gone downhill. There was this time period where people weren't going to downtown areas, and they weren't utilizing them. And so a lot of communities in the area, especially in Arkansas, are working on revitalizing their downtown areas. Russellville is one of those communities. From the time I was in college to now, it's insane how drastically different the downtown area is in Russellville on Main Street. All the shops and fun things that happen down there. And there's an outdoor area where they host concerts and things like that. And so the Office of Civic Engagement really works to get students connected to opportunities in that downtown area. So is there a service project going on down there? Or is there a business that just needs help on a Saturday? Are there job opportunities for our students in the community? These are all the different ways that the Civic Engagement Office is really working to get our students out there into different areas of Russellville and get you meeting new people. So there's people that you're going to meet through working at their business or working in their yard that might be a lifelong connection for you. When you're in college, you're put in the perfect opportunity to build new relationships and get outside of where you've always been and forge some friendships that can last you the rest of your life, but also some connections that could lead to a job opportunity or, you know, different things like that. It's as simple as somebody working in insurance, and you're working on a service project with them, and they're like, hey, have you ever thought about insurance? And you've made a connection, and maybe you're going to end up in that industry, or maybe you need insurance from them one day. You never know when you might make a great connection with someone through these different areas that we offer in civic engagement.
Awesome. So like Chelsea was saying earlier, this is a voting year. It's an election year. And I know Sierra asked a question, will we be able to vote at Tech? We don't actually have any polling locations on campus, but the polling location is down the street. It takes you about like 5 minutes to drive there. Due to the current situation, I don't know if we will be able to provide transportation on election days, but I know that's what we're working on. We want to be able to provide a safe transportation mode. So if you don't have a vehicle and you need to get down to the voting location, then that's something that we're working on right now. If you are registered to vote in a different county than Russellville, there's a couple of different things. You can either, they're going to have early voting, which is usually like 2 weeks before election day. So if you are going home and you're able to do early voting while you're home, then that's definitely a possibility. If that's not a possibility, then you can do a mail-in ballot. And so you could just have them mail you a ballot, and then you can fill that out and then just mail it back. Or if you're registered to vote in a different county, let's say you are from Northwest Arkansas, you can go ahead and re-register to vote in Russellville. If it's just going to be easier for you, you can register to vote again and just put your address as Pope County and Russellville, and then they'll be able to, and then you'll get a voter registration card for Pope County, and you'll be able to register to vote here. So it really just kind of depends on what your situation is and what's going to be the best for that. The other thing that tech does really well is on election years, they really want to make sure that you are an educated voter. That we don't care who you vote for, we care that you vote. And so sometimes it's very intimidating to be going into there and say, there's like 30 or 40 or 50 names on this ballot. I remember the first time that I went to vote, I was like, wait, there's this justice of the peace for county number 5 in this, in what? And like, you don't even know what all of these positions do. There's like a train conductor or something that you're supposed to be voting for, and there's 17 people. So that's one of the things that we do, is that we hold workshops that say, okay, this is what the county judge does. This is what a county clerk does. This is what this position is for, and this is how it affects you. There's a land commission supervisor, and besides just going and voting for president, there's so many different positions locally, whether that's in your city, in your county, in your state, that are actually much more important to your everyday life than it is on a federal level. And so really being able to figure out what all of these positions mean and what the different what voting one way or another on all these propositions mean, and being able to educate yourself in order to then be able to vote in the most educated manner that you possibly can. So I really like those. Even as an adult, I go to some of these workshops because I'm like, okay, Prop 404, everybody's saying vote no, but I don't know what that means. I have no idea what voting no on this or voting yes is a positive. Voting yes means that you're not going to get something. And so figuring out what all of this words mean, and I just made up that proposition, so I don't know anything about this. But that's what I'm looking forward to for this year, for this voting year, is being able to go to these like political engagement workshops. And I don't want to go and be like, oh yes, I'm this party and I want to fight for this person or anything. I want to go because I want to educate myself on all of the different issues, and then be able to go into the voting booth as an educated individual and really caring about what that civic engagement means for me and my community.
Ditto to all of that. Even as an adult, I feel like this is beneficial to me, just because, like Megan said, like when you see a ballot for the first time, you're like, oh my gosh, there's how many people on there, and I have to vote for how many things. And so being educated on what all those things do and who they are, all of our students obviously know the big federal elections and who's running, but they don't a lot of times know about some of those state elections, and especially your city elections, your county, things like that. Those are so important to you in your everyday life. So yeah, ditto to what Megan said, because that's extremely important. One of the other really cool things, I know we're talking a lot about the elections and all of that, but one of my favorite things is election watch parties. I just think they're fun. I went to one for the last big election that we had back in 2016. It was a blast. I wasn't living in Russellville at the time. I was working at another school, and it was so much fun. And it was cool to see all those students, no matter who they voted for, just talking about, what they believed in and what made them vote this way, or, you know, different things like that. And so it's a way for our students to come together and talk about things and be civically responsible in how they made their decisions, and explaining that to each other. A lot of times you never know what you don't know until someone explains it to you. So it's pretty cool to experience that. It's one of my favorite events that we put on. It's fun. So make sure you are on the lookout for that. I saw someone asked a question in here about communication and broadcasting. That was the department I was a part of whenever I was an undergraduate student at Tech. And that department actually does a lot. They're very involved in the community. They do a lot of civic engagement. Dr. Norton, Hannah Norton, she's amazing, and she goes above and beyond to make sure that the students that are involved in things like Public Relations Student Society and SPJ, the Society of Professional Journalists, that they're involved in the community, because it's important for people that are gonna be on the news or reporting the news are involved in those communities that they're reporting to. I mean, for me, I grew up in the Fort Smith area. So if anybody knows who Garrett Lewis is, he's my dude. I don't know I'll ever watch another weatherman in my life. But for me, like when I would go to events, even when I was younger, and see people from 5 News like out at those events, not just reporting, but like getting in there and doing things with their community, it made me want to watch that news station more. It made me want to be involved in what they were saying. So I think a lot of times you're going to see all of your different areas engaging in different ways, because it's important for business owners, for, you know, people that are broadcasting the news. It's important for those people to be out in their communities, giving back to the communities that they're a part of. So to answer your question, yes, that department is very involved.
Chelsea, there was another question from Kaylin. I want to be a motivational speaker for kids that may have peers who have disabilities. Will there be any service projects like that?
I don't know what the service projects this year will look like. I know they have had service projects with students with disabilities in the past. So that could be something that we could look at, Kaylin. So if you have an idea or you've seen something done somewhere else, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm always looking for ideas. Our office is always looking for new and inventive things to do. So feel free at any time to shoot me an email, and I am more than happy to chat with you about that. We try really hard not to do the same things like every month or even every semester. We try and like change it up and help different areas and go different places and things like that. So that's something that's super important to us, is to spread out where our students are involved in. Megan, did you want to touch on alternative spring break?
Yeah, I was gonna say I can do that one, and then you want to talk about action days after that?
Absolutely.
All right. Alternative spring break is, I keep saying, is my favorite program. I think everything that we do in this office is my favorite program. But a lot of times when students think of spring break, they think of going to the beach and partying, and everybody's going to go to the beach and everybody's going to party. But we know that's not true. That's not what most of the students do, but that's what's on the news, and that's what is in movies and on TV. And so that's what people have in their mind, whether it's a college student that hasn't experienced it before, if it's just society that thinks that that's what everybody does. But we know that's not true. A lot of times students go home and work, because that is a week where you can get in 40 to 50 hours of work, and you can get some extra money to be able to pay your bills. It's also a time where students maybe go on vacation with their families because they haven't seen their families a lot and they just want to get away. But that's also a lot of time that churches as well as schools provide mission trips and or community service opportunities. So we provide an opportunity that's called Alternative Spring Break. It's called Alternative Spring Break because it's different from what that quote unquote traditional college student spring break is, where you go out to the beach, or you just go hang out with your friends and do nothing useful. So Alternative Spring Break is an opportunity where students apply to go on a trip, and the trip is fully paid, I believe, Chelsea. So they
They
may
pay
you,
$100.
I was gonna say, yeah, you may have to pay a small fee, but then for a full week, you go out to a community service opportunity. You go out to a community service location. It could be, and a lot of times it really just depends on what's going on in the world as to where we're going. I know you guys may be too young for Joplin when there was a huge hurricane, a tornado that went through Joplin, Minnesota. What am I thinking? Missouri, sorry. And so I know that there was a lot of schools that went up there for alternative spring break and really did a lot of work there within that community to help them. A lot of times, like New Orleans is a really big place to go for, and you'll stay in a like in like a boys and girls club or someplace. You're not staying in fancy hotels or anything like that. You're staying in places where you're kind of sleeping on cots and you're camping, or like indoor camping type of thing, not like outdoors camping. I don't want to scare anybody away with that thought, but you're staying in bunk beds, you're staying in camps, and so it's really kind of being minimalistic so you can spend all of your time and your money working either with children in the area or working to clean up the area if there's been a natural disaster there. If there's been I know a lot of times in Texas there's there's some things that are happening there that we can go and you can clean up. Sometimes we're going to places where there's a lot of Habitat for Humanity houses that you can go. So Chelsea, where are some places that we've gone in the past?
Nashville, back in like 2012, there was a tornado and they went to Nashville for spring break. New Orleans. This year they were going to go to Savannah, Georgia. Different place, like Megan said, there's a ton of different places. I think one year they went to Texas, maybe Houston.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been all over the South, especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of different places, and like I said, a lot of it is just depending on what's happening in the world and what location needs the most help. And tons of the work that we're doing is very physical work, that it is getting out in the community and helping clean up something, or working with the children that are at boys and girls clubs or in different daycares or locations that need extra help for that week, especially when there's spring break and kids are off school, but families still need to work. And so they're sending their kids to camps. So they're sending their kids to daycare, places where they're actually going to be, watched, and they can do stuff educational. And then so kids like you guys, college kids, are coming in to help out with all of that stuff. And so if you're looking for an opportunity to really connect with other students that are interested in community service, and you want to go someplace and experience something that is completely different than anything you've ever done, and this is definitely a great opportunity to be able to do that. And for $100, that is so cheap that it's a full week of spring break for $100 to be able to go and engage in that. So there are opportunities for staff to go on this, because you guys as students have to have a staff supervisor. And I was asked to go one year when I worked at a different institution, and it was absolutely amazing. Just the connections that the students were making each other, and the maturity that was being developed, as well as just the opportunity to kind of reflect on your role in the community and your role as as somebody that helps other people. I know that's what somebody said earlier, is that they just love helping people. And so really being able to kind of reflect on how connected you are to the community and how connected we are in a bigger picture. I know sometimes that seems overwhelming, and it's just like my life and my bubble here. And so getting out of our own bubble and being able to really kind of affect change on a larger level is something that is really a great opportunity that not a lot of people get to take advantage of. A lot of times, most of the community service that we get to do is through churches and through mission trips, and sometimes those are really expensive, and you have to do a lot of fundraising for that. And this is something that you can easily do that doesn't take a lot of money, that can really kind of change your experience and change your life.
Fun fact, Megan, since you've met Stephanie now, one of my best friends who works at another institution met her husband in New Orleans on alternative spring break. So you never know the connection you might make with someone that you have never crossed paths with before on a project like this. So one of the last things that we're going to talk about before we just open it up to you guys is our monthly action days. So you'll probably hear the word Action Day thrown out a lot. Just know that what that is it's a monthly service project of some kind that we do through our office. So Equestrian Zone is a great example. Megan mentioned them. It's a super cool place. If you ever get the chance to volunteer there, I highly encourage it. I love what they stand for and what they do out there. So they help mostly children. They have them on horses, and I don't know if you guys know this, but horse therapy is like a huge thing. It's very cool, but that's one of the places that we do action days at, and we'll go clean up the barns or just help them with whatever they need. That might be like they have an indoor facility for some of their stuff as well, and it might be cleaning that up. Sometimes it's like raking 3 different houses in an elderly community or elderly part of town. It might be raking all their leaves or painting their house. So every month you're going to see a different action day posted all over social media and then everywhere else around campus on posters and flyers. And those are the days that we set aside for service projects. So it might be an afternoon on like a Tuesday. It might be a Saturday. We try and do it at all different times so that people have the opportunity to attend when they can. So I guess, Megan, if you don't have anything else, we can open it up to questions from you all.
Yeah, that's all I have. Sometimes I get so passionate about this topic. I feel like sometimes I'm standing on a soapbox saying, oh my gosh, you have to do this. You have to do this. But I feel like you guys are here because you're interested in this topic. So that's all we have as far as information goes. What kind of questions do you guys have just about opportunities or ways to get engaged or anything? So you can open it. You can feel free to unmute yourself and just ask, or if you want to ask in the chat, you can do that as well. Anything, any questions?
So, what's your favorite part about the organization?
My favorite part is that there's so many ways to get involved, that action days are something that you don't necessarily have to sign up for like months ahead of time, that you can just say, hey, this is something that I want to do, and you can show up. Some of them are limited to a certain amount of people, so you do have to sign up for them. But a lot of times it's just, hey, I can decide, I can look at it and say, hey, tomorrow there's an action day and I'm free and I can go. And it's just something that you can decide right then that you want to be a part of. Or you can actually sign up and do something that's more scheduled, or something like alternative spring break where you have to commit a little bit more. So I like the variety of opportunities that, especially for you guys that are working and that you have family commitments, sometimes it's hard to be able to say once a week, I'm going to do this service project, that you just want to be able to do something when you have time in your schedule. And so I like the opportunities that we provide to kind of fit community service into everybody's life.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would also say probably as a student, that was probably my favorite part too. Now looking at it, I love that. But for me, I love watching students that are passionate about giving back to their community all come together on action days or green and gold give back, or seeing the relationships that are forged between people that go on alternative spring break. Like that's a really cool piece to civic engagement, is watching people from all walks of life come together to give back to a community that they care about. So for me, that's something that I think is awesome. Also, I forgot to mention this when we were talking earlier. I don't know how. Has anyone ever been to a tech graduation ceremony in the last like 3 years? Okay, so when you come to campus, when you do get to go to a graduation ceremony, you will see students with these like medallions that they wear at graduation. Those are Service Excellence Awards. Those are given through our office. So they are given to students that throughout their time at Tech, they earn over 100 service hours. So that's a lot of time in the community that's spent giving back, things like that. So all of our students log their service hours on the link. If you've been in any of the previous sessions, you've probably heard me or Megan or someone else talk about the link. It's where you fill out your attendance forms. So students log their service hours on there. And by doing that, That plays into a lot of things for them. They're able to put on their resume, this is how many service hours I logged during my time in college. They can apply for that Service Excellence Award at the end of the year. Most of our students that win our big awards are seniors. It's because they've had tons and tons of service hours. So it's pretty amazing to look back and see a group of students that are like go above and beyond with service hours. There's two groups really, our fraternities and sororities, and then our athletes. Our athletic department does so much in terms of giving back to the community. They are phenomenal about that. And our athletes, they're out every weekend all the time, I feel like, giving back, doing some kind of project or raising awareness. And it's just really cool to see that. So for me, that's my favorite part, is seeing students all come together because they're passionate about giving back.
We had a question, Chelsea. Will each individual major have service project like nursing or psychology specifically? Amanda asked that.
So we can't really speak for each department. Everybody does different things. Some departments plan their own, like within their department, and some of them will contact our office and say, hey, we're looking for an opportunity for service for our students. How can you tell us to get involved? So one way or another, I will say this, all of our faculty helps promote what's happening in our office. So they're all great to say like, hey guys, there's a service project this weekend, contact Campus Life. Or if their department is doing something, they are great to tell us like, hey, our department's doing this week. Can you help us get the word out? So one way or another, everybody's doing something, whether they're helping us promote our civic engagement opportunities or we're helping them create their own. One way or another, everybody is going to be able to show you an opportunity of some kind.
Mm-hmm. I would say there's also a couple of opportunities within the tech environment that we have a food pantry on campus. It's called the Green and Gold Cabinet. And so a lot of times student organizations or departments will do food drives within their areas to say, hey, go ahead and bring in food, because we know that around Thanksgiving or around Christmas time or around holiday breaks where the cafe isn't open as much, that students are running into more food insecurity issues. And so really being able to do food drives and then be able to give it to the Green and Gold food pantry is a common one. And then I know the College of Business does it, and some of the other colleges do it as well, but they have, they'll do clothing drives a lot. They have a business closet on campus where students that need a interview clothes or they need some business clothes if they got an internship but they can't afford the proper clothing to be able to go to the interview or to kind of go to a week's worth of an internship, say during spring break or something, then the students can actually go to this closet and they can check out what they have there, and they'll be able to, and it's all free, and they can grab like a suit jacket, or they can grab a pair of shoes or a pair of pants or anything that they need for whatever type of job that you might have. Getting business clothes, sometimes that means a suit, sometimes that just means jeans that don't have holes in them. And so really being able to kind of do it, like, let's say maybe the nursing department is going to do a clothing drive that they know nurses are going to be in scrubs all the time, but maybe they have but maybe they have some clothes that they can go ahead and get from their community and be able to donate it to that business closet in order to be able to help other people. So there's a lot of projects within the tech campus that you can help out other students. And a lot of times, a lot of departments will choose to do that because it's easier since it's located in campus. But then there are also, like Chelsea was saying, some opportunities for departments and student organizations to go out in the community and do stuff. Adria had a question about how to sign up for the service projects. Do you do that on the link, or how do you sign up for all of these, Chelsea?
So a lot of times it's just show up. If it is one that requires you to sign up, then yeah, it'll be the sign up location is typically on the link. That we try and put all of our forms and all of our signups on the link. That's just the easiest way to do it. Now, if it's something that's specific to a department, like say you're in a department, like nursing or something that says like, hey, this is an opportunity for just students in our department, they might have you sign up through an instructor or at their office. But anything that comes from our office, yeah, is going to go through the link.
I would say a lot of fundraising opportunities could also be considered service opportunities, that a lot of student organizations will do fundraising, whether that is doing informational and bringing a speaker in and charging a very small fee for people to come in, or if they're doing a lemonade stand, or if they are saying, hey, we're going to charge you $1 to get this, to throw a pie in the face of somebody so we can raise money for this. So some of the depending on how you're spending that money, a lot of times students or organizations around campus say, we want to support the Boys and Girls Club, so we're going to have the opportunity for campus leader, for students around campus to throw a pie in the face of our members. And then you can get all of your friends to pay $1. And then you just, really, it's not a pie. It's really a pie pan with just whipped cream in it. And then you just get to shove it in the face of all your friends. Which is quite fun. And then they've raised money for the Boys and Girls Club to buy something specific. Maybe they needed new basketballs, or maybe they needed a new basketball hoop. And so that's within itself, within a student organization, is an opportunity to create service, but you're also doing fundraising as well. And so you get that experience. So you get that experience of building a fundraiser and creating a fundraiser, since that's always a really good skill, but then you get to give back and have fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of our student organizations will do that, and you'll see their flyers like all around campus. One of the ones that comes to mind, like right off the bat, is Zeta Tau Alpha is one of our sororities on campus, and their philanthropy is breast cancer awareness. And so they will do stuff through the whole month of October to raise money toward supporting breast cancer research and things like that. So you'll see it denoted on different flyers and things like that, like where the proceeds go to for those different things. So student orgs will be all over the place on campus a lot of times, having bake sales or doing different things to raise money, because a lot of times they're going to go to a business and say, hey, can we paint something? Can we pick up something? And maybe they don't need that, but maybe they say like the Boys and Girls Club, maybe it's, hey, we could really use a new basketball goal. Okay, well, how can this student org, help fund that? So they'll host different things on campus to raise that money for it. So that's a super great point.
Awesome. So we have a couple more minutes left. What other questions do you guys have? You can unmute yourself and ask, or put your question in the chat box, and we can answer it either way. I can see it in your eyes. You guys have questions. All right, well, while you guys are kind of finalizing all of those last questions, for those of you that have been to a tech talk so far, you know that you have to complete the attendance form in order to get your points for the pre-orientation. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that link here so you have access to this. Thank you, Marcus. I really like your engagement there. I appreciate that. And Sierra wants to know, how will the service groups be now with COVID? That is a very good question, Sierra. And if I had an answer to that, I would be a rich woman.
Yeah, I think we're kind of
working through that. But like I said, that could be one of the reasons why we can't provide transportation to the voting booth, because we can't safely provide transportation to a lot of students at once if we have to have 6 feet in between them on a bus, let's say. So transportation to areas may be dependent on you, that if you have your own transportation, whether it's your own car or you can carpool with somebody, then you might be able to get to that. But I think a lot of it is just going to be determined by where we are in the fall and what situations are available. Being able to go into Boys and Girls Clubs and paint and clean is always something that's a possibility, but actually being able to interact with the kids that are there, unfortunately, that's probably not something that we're going to be able to do, just because we do have to make sure that we are maintaining a safety, the safety of not only the students there, but you guys and our community. So there's probably going to be a lot of opportunities for physical labor, whether that's cleaning or beautifying or working in, let's say, botanical gardens or things like that, and maybe kind of pulling away from working with people for right now. But if we do have opportunities to work with people, then it'll probably be in smaller groups, that it's not going to be, hey, let's take 30 people to the old people's home, to the senior citizen home. I can't believe I just said that, the old people's home. I'm so sorry. The senior citizen facility, to be able to interact with them. But at the same time, can we go around to all of the windows and bring them kind of to the doors and be able to, hold up signs and say that we love you and read books from outside of windows? Most definitely. So we're just going to have to use your ideas as well as our ideas to be as creative as possible and engaging as many people as possible. And I think that's definitely what this quarantine and COVID situation has allowed us to do, is be very creative. And do things that we wouldn't have even thought to do, because we could always just go in. So now that we can't go in, what else can we do to really make it exciting for all of these, for all of the senior citizens, or whether it's kids, being able to engage from afar with all of you guys. Chelsea, it looks like Jennifer's having trouble getting to the form. Do you have any recommendations for that?
I'm going to put my email in here. There's been a couple of people that are having issues with the refreshing. So if you do have that problem, shoot me an email. I just put my email in the chat box and we'll figure it out. I don't know what's going on. Not everyone's having that problem, but I know some people are. So just let me know, and I'm in contact with the company and we'll figure it out.
I would also recommend that you try to use Google Chrome when you are accessing anything with the link. That program is pretty advanced, and a lot of times the Firefox or Internet Explorer or Safari or anything just don't have the capabilities to be able to process all of that information as quickly, and so sometimes it just takes a while for that and it keeps refreshing. So making sure that you have access to that, like a Google Chrome will help. And just so you guys know, a lot of the pre-orientation, because I know these tech talks are part of the pre-orientation, some of the pre-orientation will automatically check off. So whenever you complete the tech talks, once you complete 3 of those, you'll see that you have the check mark on that. But some of the other pieces are not automatically going to get checked off, because we have to manually update that. So if you have on the one that says you've registered for your fall 2020 classes, you've gotten a PO box and the student ID card one, if you know that you have completed those, that's awesome, that you're done. Even if you don't have the check mark, if you know you've completed it, you're good to go. We're still waiting to get lists back from all of those different departments, so that way we can then upload them, and then we can cross those off. So as long as you know that you've completed that, just don't worry about the fact that it doesn't have a check mark on it. Besides those 3, if there's other things that don't have a check mark that you know that you've completed, go ahead and email Chelsea, and then we can figure out what's going on with that. I believe, is the Title IX trainings up yet, Chelsea?
Nope, they're not.
Okay, so there are some Title IX trainings. It's an alcohol EDU course, and I believe and then there's one more on Title IX and sexual assault prevention. Those should be up in the next week or so. So consistently be checking back with that pre-orientation, because that's something that you'll want to complete before you go on campus. And it will make, and it'll just be a lot easier if you're doing it at home when you have plenty enough time to do it, versus when you're on campus and you want to be out in the world doing orientation stuff versus sitting in your room doing this training. So awesome. So that's all we have today for you guys. If you have any individual questions, please feel free to stay on and ask those. Thank you so much for joining us. We are excited that you guys are so interested in community service and civic engagement. Our next Tech Talk is tomorrow at 1 p.m. for all of our first generation students. First generation means that you were your first in your family to go to college. And that is just for your parents. So if your parents did not graduate from college, then that makes you a first generation student, regardless of anybody else in your family went to college. So if you are a first generation student, we definitely would love for you to join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. It's going to be the same link, and then we'll talk about all of the benefits and the resources that we have for first gen students. So thank you guys so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to stick around, and don't forget to fill out that attendance form and put your email address in the chat box if you haven't done that. So thank you very much and have a great day.